Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. This is episode 12. I'm Christina Suzuma, your host of this program. Today's show is named Let's Collaborate with the Universe. Hello, Anatara. Welcome.
Are you ready to have some fun?
Woohoo! As I just mentioned, collaborate with the universe. You better be ready. Hold on, buckle in, go.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean all just party time the way we think of it, but collaboration. I love the word collaboration. To me, it brings forth the sort of the most perfect description of what can happen when we engage with other things, when we let other things work through with us, when we collaborate, when we share, when we create and cooperate. It's this beautiful word that really fills out the idea of not being alone, of being a part of something, of being respected and trusted within a system, within our existence. In our last show, we talked about time travel and about a little bit about space and time, and wouldn't it be amazing, that we can work with other versions of ourselves, other visions of ourselves that exist at the same time as this particular version of me is here. So to me, that is the epitome of collaboration. There are so many ways in which we can collaborate with the universe. And let's extend that to say, let's collaborate with the multiverse, all those multiple versions of ourselves, the multiple versions of others, all of the energetic beings and guides and helpmates that we have out there in our extended realities that are collaborating with us all the time, helping us to create and understand and share our brilliance, our personal, individual, multifaceted brilliance with the people in our immediate lives and in the extended lives of existence all around us. So what I really mean about this is that when we're not limited by what we see as being concrete connections, when we're not limited by believing that only, let's say, my concrete connection with you might have me be able to express, when we're not limited by that, the way that we can receive and feel and know other creative forces available to us is completely unbounded. Where do we get our ideas about what's possible for us? Where do we get our ideas about how far we can go? Where do we get our ideas from about, what we are allowed to do or not allowed to do? When we step into collaboration, we have brilliant ideas, such as this brilliant idea of doing this show together. It's a way to start to look at always being in that open and listening and available position or stance so that we don't miss anything. I've spoken a lot about how we can put ourselves into an attitude of listening, about how we can open our senses and open our mind and open our eyes and open our attitudes so that we are always listening to what's available. So let's take that another step further. Let's take our ability to hear and receive and then therefore collaborate and create into the dimension of what this universe has to teach us. And we won't talk about the other multiverses immediately. Let's just talk about whatever we consider to be our universe. Our universe can be different things. It can be that universe of my home, my work, my community, my family. It can start to encompass the rest of the earth, politics and people's experiences around the world. It can step out into how we see our earth and as it rotates around our sun. and the other planets in its realm. Our universe could also include wherever it is we feel we receive our intuition from, our intuitive information from. It can then take another step out to what galaxy are we in, physically? Where is our planet Earth in relation to other star systems? What galaxy is that? And then it can go even further into the multiverse, universe upon universe upon universe, an infinite possibility of places, of choices, through which we can receive information and start to collaborate. So, if we as human beings end this very limited, um, frequently limited concept of where we can receive information from, and therefore where we can start to create and collaborate through, and who and or what we may receive that information from, we start then to collaborate with the whole universe. We start to collaborate with everything that we may have access to. We don't always and aren't always able to get the information from these other sources by ourselves, but there are lots of individuals who can. I can tune into many, many different layers and levels of the multiverse for myself and for others. There are lots of other practitioners and intuitives and hear people that hear all of these other dimensions that can also bring this information right here into our here and now. So what I'm trying to establish and trying to really bring through and bring forward is that there are no limits. There are no limits to who we are. There are no limits to what we can understand, and there are no limits to how we can collaborate with the universe. Imagine truly if we were able to tune in and literally hear from some of the other beings that exist in our galaxies. Imagine if we could really listen to them and have them share with us how they see our development is progressing. Imagine if we could get information from them about what we could do next to change and increase the sort of the timing of the transition that we're going through here on Earth. Imagine what it would really be like to collaborate with the universe. We spoke at the end of our last talk together about not limiting ourselves, about imagining that we're not stuck in this life. And I want to take this a step further by saying we don't even need to imagine that anymore. We can be it. We can do it. We can literally step out of time travel, and move into a full-on collaboration with the universe. How does that sound to you?
As I say, woohoo, here we go. Hold on, buckle up.
Uh-huh.
It is, yeah, I believe, Anatara, it's, when people hear the word universe, it's so vast. It's out there. It's out there. What is the universe? And because what is the universe? It's like, oh, it's Star Trek, galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy. And I think it's so huge. And I know for myself, there was a time whenever, connect with the universe, I would have gone like, how, why, how, where, is that even possible? Is that even possible for us, this little, speck of dust or particle, each one of us being in this universe? How do we connect with it? Meanwhile, we're right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
We are. It's like all these atoms and molecules that make up every plant and every being. And here we are, one of those in this vast universe. And now I think back, well, the how is not the how. We are.
Oh, that's such a great way to look at it. And you're right. In terms of the universe. What are we? We're a tiny, tiny speck living a tiny, tiny little life that, to what most of us, most of the time, feels that it's the most important thing that exists. and and as we expand our association with however the universe can present itself to us, we see that we are small in comparison to that, yet we are very important to all of that.
Mhm.
That it's those tiny molecules that make up the whole. So that our if we feel like we're being made small by the universe, the actuality of it is that we are inseparable from it. We are vital to it. And therefore, that vast universe that we've been separating ourselves from or imagining was too big to comprehend is really us.
Mm,
We are the universe.
mm,
So when I say let's collaborate with the universe, I'm really saying let's collaborate with what we are already. And you sort of mentioned that a minute ago.
mhm,
How is it that something seemingly, infinitesimal as me is important to that gargantuan energetic being? And the reason is that it is an energetic being, that all parts of it cycle and recycle and relate and interrelate to create the whole.
mm,
And this is why, or looking at it this way, helps us understand why someone at war somewhere on our earth is it's a breaking of the true principles of life, not just for those people and not just for us here on earth, but for all elements of the galaxy.
mm,
There's another element of this that I think is really important, and it helps us deal with the intricacies of just being in our little lives, as well as looking at the whole. There is a kind of sustainability that comes from being part of something that's intricate and that big. And there's a way that we can grow and learn and make mistakes, so to speak, and still be included in and still be loved and appreciated by that bigger whole. There is an allowance that some parts of us and some parts of the whole of the universe, of the earth, are learning certain things that other parts have already gotten, have already grokked, are already living. There's a way to know that even though we aren't and perhaps haven't achieved some of those levels of understanding, that we are still significant over here. And that part that knows loves us as much as we love the manifestation of the greater understanding.
mm,
Neither one is better. Neither one is worse. It's all part of what we all are.
mm,
And I have been not thinking in too much detail about the bombing at the marathon in Boston yesterday, but I have been acclimating myself to what this bigger picture is in terms of the way I've just described it. I grew up outside Boston. I know those places that have just been bombed. I don't know the individual people that have been injured and hurt, but I can be aware of what their personal journeys are, and I can be aware of what the journey for the collective consciousness of Boston, of Massachusetts, of the United States, of the earth is. And I can also see that and fully believe that there is a message available to us about this through collaboration with the universe. And it may be that even though these are very horrific personal details, and it is a very tragic time in terms of how we describe ourselves in time on this planet, but that we are also all capable of shifting our concern over the actual act that has taken place into a consciousness that absorbs that and transforms that and literally changes the availability for that sort of event to continue to happen. Is that a
Mm.
clear enough description of what I'm trying to say?
Hmm. Yes, Anatara, I believe part of it is there are those who are of like mind as you and I about a situation like that. It's at this time, sometimes soon after an event
Mm,
such as that, that is, very devastating.
mhm,
Um, and it kicks in so much fear,
mhm,
uh, sadness, fear, they all come hand in hand, that it's not, it's so easy to get lost within that, the anger,
mhm,
the retaliation,
mhm,
and interesting, you can actually feel that energy emanating through
mhm,
people. It's not just through speech, but you can feel it, especially here in the
mhm,
US, you can feel it. We're on the other side of the coast and you can feel it,
mhm,
you know. And I love what you said about taking all of it in. And if correct me if I'm off in any way, but taking all of that energy in, which is like a negative flowing energy that will consume us. It will consume us each as
mhm,
individuals, and actually shifting it,
mhm,
shifting it, each of us being responsible and aware
mhm.
to make the choice to shift it, to a more positive, loving,
Mhm,
as one yogi guru would say, into like a loving kindness,
mhm,
compassion,
mhm.
not just for those who have been affected, but however and how far and wide that goes, not
Mm.
just what
Yeah,
happened here, because what happened here was a manifestation of something that's happening somewhere else.
exactly,
So how
exactly.
do we shift that energy where it came from? It's like it's like a cancerous cell. How do we shift that cell so that it doesn't continue to manifest itself forward?
Mhm. The part of the way I've been describing all of this is been, I didn't know it till now, but has been an attempt to point out that part of that cancerous misalignment, that overgrowth, or it's almost like there's too much power in that.
Hmm.
The overabundance of power over within that kind of action. That we
Mm.
have those elements within us. We may not create bombs and take them to marathons, but we have had times in our lives when we utilize that kind of energy. And the way that it shifts is by enough of us knowing that it's just not required that we be like that.
Hmm.
It's just not required that we support those feelings in ourselves or in anyone else. And we can literally, compassionately understand that whoever or whatever group or whatever it was that created this event is in pain, and through creating more pain is attempting to eliminate or alleviate some of what they're feeling.
Hmm.
And in having that different perspective, and in just putting out as much, literally as much light as we can to the whole event and to the whole planet, because of the new earth that we're in, this really can start to change, and can start to shift. It's like a little pop-up cell of activity that we don't have to give the attention to, as you've said, is so easily drawn out of us with this kind of negative thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have the ability to love a change from this, rather than to hate and fear a change out of
Hmm.
this.
Hmm. Beautifully said. Yes,
Mm.
very much so. Wow, as I said, buckle up when you're connecting to the universe. It's all encompassing, isn't it?
It certainly is.
We're all here, and we're the little specks that make it all up. So it's like that web of life, the World Wide Web. It's the web of life where, if we can continue to hit against the web and all the little strands of the web, positive light and energy to go out there, it's just going to keep emanating itself.
And it is.
There you go. Thank you so much, Anatara, for this moment of collaborating with the universe. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support and look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. We invite you to join us live on Tuesdays for Magical Medical Tour at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 1:30 Eastern Time. Wednesdays for Trinity of Life at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Followed every other week by this show, Flowing into Awareness with Anatara. We welcome you to contact Anatara, especially as she has assisted so many through spiritual counseling for over 25 years. Has clients in the US, Canada, throughout Europe, and continues to do intuitive readings, which she calls angel listenings. You can be in touch with her at myyogahub.com/Anatara. Follow her on Twitter at Anatara, and of course, through her own website, anatara.ca. Until next time, namaste. Between all three, and the strong balance between all three, that it's so interesting to hear you say that one person's chosen to do.
So the small things we can do to make a change is to say, stop whatever is making you panic at the moment. Of course, if you're in a house burning down, run out, then do you do this. But I mean, for most times, we don't